Hello, everyone, as you are joining us here today. I know a lot of people are just now dropping in. I hope that you can hear me. I'm just going to go ahead. It is 6:01 Eastern Time over here with me in Columbus, Ohio. And as you drop in, I'm just going to have a quick words here for you to share. So first of all, my name is Catherine Frenzel-Luke. I'm a word language sales consultant with Glad Word Languages, and I'm thrilled to be your host today. Reimagining German for middle and high school, das Reporterteam, and the path forward. It is my pleasure to introduce to you today's presenters. So first we have Heidi Lechner. She's an award-winning educator, dual credit instructor, and national advocate for German education. She brings 20 plus years of classroom experience and currently works as an instructional coach and teacher at Libertyville High School. And I'm also excited to have Barbara Cerruti here today with us. She's an editorial manager at Glad Word Languages and longtime language program developer. Barbara brings deep pedagogical expertise and is the mind behind many of our most exciting and innovative K-12 programs. So, Heidi and Barbara, the floor is all yours.
Thanks so much for the introduction, Katrin. And yes, I'm very pleased to be here with you today. And this is the agenda we prepared for you. We will describe the state of German education in the US. We'll introduce das Reporterteam and explain how das Reporterteam responds to today's challenges. And then you will also have some time for questions, which I hope we'll be able to answer all. So, Heidi, your turn.
All right. Thanks, Barbara, and thanks, Catherine. So, I worked on Das Reporterteam as an educational consultant, and I just want to mention that too because I really am behind this whole program, and I'm piloting it myself in my classes next year. So, as an educator, I'll be talking to you today about the state of German education currently in our country. Not that I'm an expert, but I have been teaching almost 30 years. I work with a lot of teachers over the last few years around the country, both as an instructional coach and as a GEM through the Goethe Institute. And I meet with people from all different states and types of schools. However, I also went to the experts and I talked to Mike Shaughnessy this week, the executive director of the ATG, and Angelica Becker, the current ATG president. So my next remarks are mostly my opinions, but I'll point out where I got some data points. So we're going to talk about four things. Where are enrollments growing or shrinking in our country? Two, where are schools or teachers struggling with most at the moment? Third speaking point is what motivates students to choose German over other languages. And fourth, how can new programs help support advocacy and relevance? So the first one I'm going to talk about is where in the US are we doing well and what's shrinking? And Mike did give me some data, and he said currently Northeast, some parts of the Midwest, such as where I'm at, north of Chicago, where we do have a shrinking population, and that affects our enrollment. So that's just part of, nothing we can really affect. However, there is growth around the country. There's some places in Carolinas, Georgia, Texas that are affected by German companies and industries, and that really makes a good impact on our language programs. And there's other parts. I have a colleague in Iowa I spoke with. Her enrollment is doubled for next year. A lot of it is intertwined with the teacher and the program. Stated graduation requirements. These definitely impact enrollment. We have two examples, one positive, one negative. Indiana just passed a law that personal finance course has to be taken in middle school. This is going to wipe out our middle school languages and then affect, of course, enrollment at the high school level. On a positive note, Illinois passed a law where that's going to require 2 years of foreign language, world language as a graduation requirement starting in 2029, I believe. It's in 2 years. And the freshman incoming class is going to start. So that's great. We're going to get a lot more students that are required to take it language. And that leads to the next slide, which is what are we struggling with? Well, the first bullet point. Who are our teachers? We know that there's a problem in our entire country for all education, finding qualified teachers. German teachers also, we're battling that. A lot of the problem stems from burnout. Since the pandemic 5 years ago, a lot of us have not recovered. Everybody has multiple preps. A lot of us are alone or independent. I'm thankful to have a colleague, but I still teach 3 to 5 levels of German every year. Mixed classes are stacked, 1 and 2 or 3 for AP. That's a common theme. Okay, so those are really something special for a German teacher. And regarding resources, a lot of us have stepped away in many places from having a textbook because there were so many outdated, right, resources. So we've been writing our own curriculum. Teachers, sure, we know what we're doing, but we're not necessarily curriculum experts. And so I love that this Das Reporterteam is something that want to move back to, because it takes a lot of what I already do and makes it into a great, organized, coherent textbook for me and the students to follow. I do write here too many resources. I love curriculum writing and talking about curriculum and what to teach. And my work with the Goethe Institute, um, they have an amazing amount of resources, and I can get lost for hours in it. But for new fledgling teachers, they don't want to get lost for hours. They just want a lesson plan. They want to know what to do. So that's why I'm saying it's both a negative and a positive. Something I've noticed, like I said, in the last few years, student work refusal has really gone up a lot, and is linked to their motivation. And I don't have many answers, but on the next slide, we do talk about what motivates students to take German. So I would say a lot of kids say, well, your class is fun. Well, we're an elective, and sure, that's nice to hear, but that's not all that motivates students. Travel's a big one. Excuse me, especially with the advent of Instagram and all those beautiful travel photos that everyone puts out. Uh, Family history, I've found, like I'll have students, oh, my little sister's coming to you next year, or my little brother in 2 years. So you make a reputation for yourself, but that's part of the teacher, right? And then we have heritage. Okay, a lot of people still in the Midwest, they have their German roots, and so they want to learn German. And then finally, the what can I get, right? The relevance. Can I get credit at college level through the AP? I teach two dual credit courses actually through a local community college, and my students earn 8 college credits by going through my program. Seal of biliteracy varies state to state, but we also try to work towards that in our program. So kids come out with a tangible. And this program, Das Reporter Team, takes you from the very step and it will through the rest. Okay, and their final talking point, advocacy, relevance. I just talked about relevance in terms of what can the students get out of it, but to advocate for yourself, I would say one of the main things I do besides teaching and creating curriculum and is networking. I publish a newsletter, for instance, once a month, and it goes to parents, it goes to administrators, it goes to some community members. They pass it along, and I feature exciting things we do in class and pictures, and it's a lot of extra work, but it helps get me out there as oh, my child will be recognized in the German program. So that definitely helps. Other things that teachers have to do are network with our professional organizations. AETG is a huge supporter, as you all know. Goethe Institute, we have a few in the country, but they will come to you. There's a lot of online offerings. So there are help for new teachers and veteran teachers who feel solo and would like somebody to reach out. And finally, there are a lot of scholarships out there. We are a niche program, and I always publicize them, even if the students don't necessarily earn all of them. At least this year, actually, I have 2 scholarship winners this summer through AETG and the Goethe Institute, and I'm so proud. But the kids, that's huge to go to Germany or to go to Concordia language camps or through the day national German exam. Uh, Yes, this is all extra work, one would say, but it's worth it. It makes everything relevant. It gets kids out there and it makes a love for the language and for travel and really affects us in the future. Do I have a final bullet point? Oh, national level. JNCL Nicholas, I don't know if you're familiar with that out there, our listeners. I went to a virtual attended one a few years ago. It was amazing. That is really, if you are politically motivated to have your voices heard, look up this organization that supports us teachers. And yeah. So anyway, that's a lot in a nutshell. I don't know if it resonates with any of you what I said, but we just wanted to bring up where do we stand today and how can Das Reporterteam help you? So that's where we're headed next.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Heidi. So I will walk you through das Reporterteam. Das Reporterteam is proficiency-based, it's project-based and offers realistic communicative tasks. It offers authentic and engaging content for teenage learners. Grammar and vocabulary is consistently presented and learned in context. This is a very, very important issue to us. And it's constantly recycled because it's the only way to learn it. We offer formative and summative assessments constantly. And of course, it's aligned with ACFL world readiness standards and also state standards. So this is what it is on the whole. We have 4 levels. These 4 levels cover the same proficiency levels as our Spanish and French sister programs, Reporteros and Reporter Francophone. It starts at novice low, which is normally the preliminary unit, and then it goes up to intermediate high. So yeah, you have the 4 levels, and level 4 has a different structure and is already preparing for AP. So it really is different, and it's sort of a pre-AP program. But now we have just published level 1 and 2. Anyway, program components. It's a student edition, teacher's edition, a workbook, a very nice workbook. And of course, the digital version with plenty of supplementary materials, differentiation worksheets, and a lot of, and the assessment program, both skills-based and proficiency-based assessments. So, das Reporterteam, what is the concept behind this program? These are our reporterinnen and reporters. Sorry, I'll just have to look up my notes. Yeah, it's called das Reporterteam because the reporterinnen and reporter have a very important mission. They are present at the beginning, right at the start of each unit. They chat with each other, they appear during the unit, and they introduce both the place where they come from, each reporter, where he or she comes from, as well as the topic of the unit. And being present throughout the unit gives it a coherence for the students. And it's all the topics we introduce are sort of logical and consistent and not random. So these are the reporter. In level 1, we have a reporter from Hamburg, from Konstanz, Berlin, Dresden, Wien, and Zurich. And level 2, it's München, Basel, Frankfurt, Leipzig, Innsbruck, and Heidelberg. So as you can see, we decided to choose well-known places because we thought it's very nice if a student knows something already about some of these places, which are really famous places. And so we think it's a good idea to just see to present something they already know a little, or where they already know something. They also have diverse origins and different accents, so so that we can show this diversity in the German-speaking countries. Next, please. I would like to show you, present Elias from Vienna.
Hey. Servus Leute, ich bin Elias, bin 15 Jahre alt und komme aus Wien in Österreich. Deutsch ist meine Muttersprache, ich spreche aber auch gut Englisch. Österreich hat 8 Nachbarländer. Im Westen sind Liechtenstein und die Schweiz, im Süden Italien und Slowenien, im Osten Ungarn und die Slowakei und im Norden Tschechien und Deutschland. In Österreich gibt es wunderschöne Seen und Berge. Wien ist die Hauptstadt Österreichs. Es ist eine multikulturelle und dynamische Stadt. Jedes Jahr kommen viele Touristen nach Wien. Es gibt so viel zu sehen. Tolle Architektur, viele Museen, Konzerte und natürlich unseren Naschmarkt. Da kann man Gemüse, Obst, Gewürze kaufen und allerlei Spezialitäten essen. Das Wiener Schnitzel ist weltbekannt. Und die süßen Spezialitäten, die sind einfach lecker. Ihr kennt sicher den Apfelstrudel und die Sachertorte. Ich bin Vegetarier und Hobbykoch. In meiner Freizeit fahre ich gerne Rad. In Wien kann man sehr gut Rad fahren. Kommt nach Wien und wir machen zusammen eine kulinarische Radtour.
Yeah. So yes, Unit 5 is about food and cafe house and all these nice things. And but now I would like to present Unit 3, which is located in Berlin. And I'll just walk you through the unit so that you have an idea of the structure. First thing the students see is the opening page, the unit introduction with a big title, 2 essential questions. Each essential question goes with one of the lessons, Lektion 1, Lektion 2. Each lesson has a unit, has a title, and each lesson ends up with a mini project both, you can see that here, both lessons lead up to the Abschlussprojekt. And this entire thing is completely coherent. So consistent. Anything the students learn leads up, goes with the essential questions and leads up to the projects and is consistent. So the video introduces both, first thing also is the location. Where are we geographically speaking? This is very important. We're trying very hard to show where places are in Europe. And then we have brainstorming questions on Berlin, in this case, on the place, so that we can see what the students know already. And then there are also interesting informations about Berlin. And then they see the video, have some questions on the video, but it's a general introduction, what you call in German also a little bit Vorentlastung. So that students already know, oh, this is what we're going to do, okay? So they're already prepared. Now, next, please. Then we have the lesson introduction. We have 2 lessons. So first they meet, they see Lektion 1, they have a title there, and there we go into detail and we explain the communicative goals, what they're going to use for these goals, so the grammar and the vocabulary, and also the cultural aspects they will see and in this unit. And then we always have an authentic document here. So Emir has Turkish origins, and here we speak about Turkish für Anfänger, which was a very famous, very nice series, very intercultural, about a German-Turkish family. And they speak about, they chat about it. This chat, the students will always see this chat at the beginning of each lesson. And also cultural, they have a cultural input. So this is, again, a light way of entering into the theme of family, because here it's about family. So we go on, please, next slide. Then we have the lesson core. Lesson core consists of 2 or 3 double-page spreads. So if in lesson 1 we have 2 double-page spreads, in lesson 2 we will have 3, and vice versa. It depended a little bit on the topics, because some topics are easier to deal with, or you have more to say. So it's very nice that we can just, we could just decide, here we will just have 2, or here we will have 3 double-page spreads. It's always, the concept is a double-page spread. So they have the open book or the ebook or whatever, and they always have a title, Emir's Familie. They have the can-do statement. So it's really quite impossible to get lost what they're meant to do here. I can present family members and people who are close to me and describe their personalities. And then they usually have a document. Here it's not an authentic document, because this is not really Emir's family, of course. This is the family we invented for him. But you usually have a document, which very often is an authentic document, and we have students just plunge into it and see, and we help them to deal with it. On the right, you can see the Vokabelkasten, meine Vokabeln, which is the vocabulary they need, and the grammar, which is introduced here. So grammar is always, same thing on the second page, Vokabeln and grammar. And all texts are recorded also by a native speaker. We always have communication examples, Sprechbeispiele, because as a program developer, we think it's very, very important that we know what we think students can say here. And it also helps a lot the teacher. We just give the beginning very often, or just slight examples, but it really helps of what is supposed to be done here. And also the activity type, it's very clear. So activity 3 is lesen und schreiben. Activity 4 is lesen, sprechen und schreiben. And the last activity, if you go through this double page spread, you will see the last activity is always the more open activity, where students can already say something about themselves or do something more, which is more open. Next, please. What we also do, now you see here we have the grammar ready-made. So you won't find the entire conjugation or declination, but just the examples they really need here to be able to cope with the activity. And we also have the Sprachdetektiv. The Sprachdetektiv, this is the icon. We take, we have a text here on Leni Klum and her family. And the parts of this text are show here we have the possessive pronoun. Yes. So they come up in the text, and here we have students look at some examples of this text so that they can think about, oh, how are they formed? How does this work in German? And they find out a little bit for themselves. We also have a game for each lesson, one game, which is very tightly linked to the theme they are working with. And where we have space, we also put Strategien. And we have plenty of listening activities as well. Next, please. So, meine Vokabeln. Here we have, they are introduced here, but then we will show you the Vokabelseite where they have 3 pages, only vocabulary. It's all illustrated, especially for the first levels, with illustrations, with translations, no way to get lost. We try to recycle the vocabulary as much as possible. And and what you also can see here, for example, here on the left, it's a website where they are supposed to they can buy clothes. And on the right, they have sort of Instagram profiles of some German-speaking influencers, which they're all very famous. And they have to describe their clothing, because this is lesson 2. We combined the family theme with clothing and how people look, just not to be insisting on the family thing for weeks and weeks, because it's very easy to bore young people. We all know that. So we really try to combine things and make it interesting. We also have a lot of collaborative activities in groups or in pairs. And what else? And then above, and the obere Leiste here, I don't know how to say this in English. We have we show which materials and worksheets are linked to these activities. For example, the differentiation worksheets and the e-workbook. And here you have also the reference to the workbook. For each double page spread, you have 3 pages of vocabulary and grammar activities on this vocabulary and grammar in the workbook. Next, please. Yeah. What we also do, for example, here we have a video. We try to have a step-by-step approach, and what can be asked before looking at a video, when or just after looking at the video, and afterwards when they have looked at it. what they can do with it. And also the cultural information is directly linked to this document. Here, this is not really, this is a semi-authentic document. We are in level 1, so it was very difficult to find authentic documents. We have authentic graffitis here, where people have to be described, their physical appearance. And here we have Emir present a very famous graffiti from the East Side Gallery, where he describes what the man wears and the way he looks like. So we really linked together cultural themes with, this is very cultural, but it also is, of course, I mean, after all, they have to learn to speak German. So we really tried to melt everything together and make it very coherent. And we hope in a very attractive way for teenagers. And we have also extra activities, extra more challenging activities. They are meant especially for maybe faster learners, so that we can avoid people making noise maybe in class while others are still doing something. We also have extra activities on the differentiation worksheets. We have both accommodation and challenge. So next, please. Yes, here we have the grammar presentation. So the grammar section is apart from the core, which is not very common for American language teachers. But we thought it's a very good idea because some teachers maybe don't want to insist too much on grammar. Other teachers like it. Maybe some teachers would even like to say, look, before going into this, we'll have a look at the grammar and then we'll go. This gives you a lot of flexibility on how to do things. It is presented in a very simple way. Heidi helped us there because, because we wanted to explain everything and she said, no way. So we have a lot of visual helps. For example, for the word order, we insist a lot on word order because this is very difficult in German. And we always remind students here that there you have the verb, this is the subject. And also we have the grammar tutorials, very nice grammar tutorials for each issue. And we have a lot of practice activities. They normally go from very closed activities to a more open at the end. But they are grammar activities. Important unit, up to unit 3 of level 1, we had all the instructions in English. Starting from unit 4 in level 1, all the instructions are in German except grammar explanations, the culture notes, because we tried to do them in German, but it was too complicated. And after all, it's just extra information for students. And but we tried to do as much in German as possible, and the least possible in English. And then we have language comparisons. They're always marked like this, and this yellow feature. And yeah, I think you can go on. Thank you. Yes, these are our vocabulary pages. We always have, we put the plural here. We have the translation. Students can listen to it. They're all recorded, German and English. And they are grouped. So this is Kleidung, clothes. It's exactly what they find in the lesson core. Accessoires, Aussehen, physical appearance. And please go on, mache. And related to vocabulary, and this was very important for us also, was, I mean, here we have some more things, Stil und Farben, and we have always a game where they can play around with the vocabulary and a suggestion to create their own vocabulary, because it's very important that each student also writes down words maybe that didn't come up in the unit, but that are very interesting for himself, for his real world. And we have the pronunciation. The pronunciation has also a very nice animated, a very fun pronunciation tutorial, and it deals always with the vocabulary of this lesson. So this is a way of recycling it also and to get it right. It's important to learn the correct pronunciation at the very beginning when you start learning, and we really hope this helps. So Mache, please go on. Then we have the mini project. We always have an example of how it could look like. So we really know what we think students are able to do with what they've learned. And we have the assessment rubrics, plenty of rubrics. And please go on, Mache, because time. And the Abschlussprojekt, which is on a double-page spread, and with strategies on how to deal with it, and also with an alternative, digital or another option. Okay, next, please. And then this is the very end of these units. The units are 42 pages long. At the very last double-page spread is Testvorbereitung IPA, where we have a context, authentic document, and IPA sort of questions with keyword recognition, and it's always interpretive, interpersonal, presentational, sometimes viewing, sometimes reading, sometimes interpersonal writing or speaking, presentational speaking or writing. And we also have a real IPA then as a downloadable assessment, which has really the IPA format. Yeah, so this is, then we have useful expressions in the appendix, a grammar summary, and the active vocabulary for students. This is the vocabulary students should know. Mache, please. Oh no, now it's Heidi's turn on the annotated teachers edition. Heidi.
Thank you, Barbara. I am getting so excited looking at all this again and seeing how it's all put together. Not by me. I mean, in terms of me having to coordinate everything in my classroom. So I do want to talk about the teacher's edition for the next 4 slides, because this is where it all dovetails and comes together. I work with, I'm a veteran teacher, but I also work with new teachers. I have a colleague who's in his first 5 years of teaching, and he was given a Google Drive to work with. And it's all just, a lot of resources thrown in there. And it is rough, right? It's rough for a veteran teacher. It's rough for a new teacher. So this teacher's edition, the annotated teacher's edition, has so much to offer. I wanted to show you what the first one page looks like. What you're seeing here is a sample spread from chapter 1, and you can already tell it is packed with support. On every page, you'll find built-in annotations that help you teach for proficiency. There's over 900, as it says in the little bubble, throughout the book, and these range from suggested questions, cultural notes, to tips on how to differentiate or boost your teaching. Everything is color-coded. It's clearly labeled. You can spot it quickly during lesson prep or even on the fly during class. Okay, it's all very organized for you. It's really intuitive and thoughtful, and I love how it's been laid out. Okay, on the next slide. Thank you. One of the biggest challenges we do face as German teachers is juggling limited planning time while still trying to meet so many different needs of our students. So that's why I found that the annotated teacher's edition is very valuable. It's got everything built right in, exactly where I need it. So whether I'm introducing vocabulary or explaining a cultural point or facilitating a speaking task, I don't have to search through my Google Drive or a separate guide or flip around anywhere. It's all here at the point of use. So it offers ready to go ideas for formative assessments, quick checks for understanding. It even shows ways to connect to 21st century skills. So it's making a big difference in streamlining prep when you have the 5 different preps and helping teachers be more confident in the moment. For, again, new and veteran teachers, I would say this would work for everyone. The next slide will show us one of the areas that this really makes a difference in the teacher's edition. It doesn't just support the what of teaching, it helps with the how. So we have to differentiate all over the place for all of our learners. And this really helps. Do you have students who are visual learners? Do they need more of a challenge? Would they benefit from auditory reinforcement? We have these clear strategies built into the teacher edition. If you have mixed level classes like most of us do, I found the suggestions for extension and gamification really helpful. And these are available. Okay, and finally, on the next one is my scope and sequence. So I want to highlight everything you need to plan ahead. This is your curriculum mat, so to speak. At the start of the book and at the start of every unit, you get a scope and sequence, a pacing guide, and an overview of what's coming. So anywhere in Das Reporterteam, you know what the learning goals are, your students know what the learning goals are, and it all dovetails together. So it helps me align my planning with the district calendar. If I'm working, as Katrin said, with Spanish and French, we can see that we're covering all the right skills at the same time. We're an AP school, um, or if you're an IB school, they have that correlated in there. And the program really thinks about everything and how you can document the scope and sequence of the entire program, both vertically and horizontally with other languages. So, thank you.
Yeah, now it's my turn again. Just a very quick look at the workbook. The workbook is, of course, it exists also in the HTML version, but it's also very nice as a paper product because it's as I said, it's a lot of nice activities, also playful on vocabulary and grammar. Studied 3 pages for each double-page spread, and it has terrible colored printouts, and it also exists in a digital version. Mache, please show the next. Yeah, for example, here we have the example Kleidung und Aussehen on meine Vokabeln, where they can recycle what they have learned, and they have to describe 3 people. Here, activities on, this is a Weißt du noch activity, where we recycle, where we remind them, look, you have already met the possessive adjectives and the negation with nicht. So it's somehow more free activity. And also what we have, Mache, please, next, please. At the end of each unit, we have 5 pages of Kommunikation, where the 3 modes of communication are trained, always within the context of this unit. So it's always listening comprehension, reading comprehension, it's presentational, writing, speaking, and interpersonal as well. Sometimes writing, sometimes speaking. But it's again for the student to see, look, this is what I have done here in this unit. What is really important to us. What was really important to us is that the student and also the teacher always knows they know what they are doing, what is important here, and what they've learned, and what will be assessed and how it will be assessed. This is why we have all the rubrics. So this is the next part we can go to. I think that was the next part, the digital version, right? So we have the assessment program. Lektionstests are skills-based exams where we have a listening, reading comprehension, and the grammar and vocabulary issues are tested, and then they have a production. But we also have IPAs based on authentic documents, and we have my progress charts, which is very nice for students to see with the can-do statements. How did I do that? Do I need to train more with suggestions on what they could do to reinforce their skills? Differentiated worksheets. We have self-check quizzes for all the grammar and vocabulary activities, and the grammar and pronunciation tutorials, and etc. Next, please. This is, for example, an example of the My Progress chart, Kapitel 3, which we've seen. Kapitel 3, lesson 1, with what they have seen in this lesson, with the activities and how they did them, and if they need to do a little bit more. Then these are the rubrics for self and peer assessment. For example, here for individual work. We also have for group work, depending on the project. And we have the assessment rubrics for the IPAs, both for the teacher and for the student. And these are the differentiation worksheets. Arbeitsblatt 1a is more scaffolded with more help. And 1b, next please, is more like what we have in the book already, plus a challenge activity for the faster learners. So yeah, now it's Katrin's turn. Thank you.
Danke, Barbara. All right, so we have learned just a lot about what the challenges are that, our German teachers especially are facing in today's environment, and how with the supporter team, we're trying to help you and support you in a way that you can face these challenges head on. So with limited instructional time available, and I know how much time I spent with Google, right? With us reporter team, we tried to provide you with a clear structure and built-in routines that save prep time and will give you coherence throughout your class time. We all need real-world relevance. That is something we can just not go about without anymore. And with our authentic scenarios, we're hoping that students can engage in those communicative tasks and really dive in and see the relevance to their personal life as well. Now, I don't need to tell you about diverse learner needs. I'm sure the majority of your learners might be on, some diversity. And with our differentiation tips, with the visual supports, as well as the accessibility features throughout the entire series, you will find that addressing those learners' needs is a lot simpler than having to Google or come up with your own. Now, there's always a lack of materials for middle and high schools. Now, this program is designed specifically for today's learners with age-appropriate topics and pacing. I do want to mention that, especially for middle school, we do recommend level 1, but pacing it out a little bit slower, of course. And then it's hard to teach for proficiency. That's always a struggle that we have because while we all love teaching, we still need our learners to achieve a goal by the end of the semester or the year, right? So with the teacher annotations guide, we will provide you with a step-by-step support to reach your goal, to make sure that by the end of the year, your learners will be where you want them to be. And that is something that we have built into the series, and hopefully you'll find useful and supportive. All right, so before we go into the Q&A, first of all, I wanted to thank you all for being here. If you are interested in exploring this reporter team further, and I've seen a lot of comments already and questions about it, we'd be happy to send you a free sample as well. We just posted the link to our free sample request. If you fill that out and you can, let us know where you're from, someone will probably get back to you tomorrow or on Friday. And that gets you in touch with a sales consultant. And then from there on, it's easy peasy. Please keep in mind that Das Reporter Team is so new that it is just now hitting the printing press. So we are anticipating the full version of the book in print to arrive in the summer. Definitely ready for August for you to use. In the meantime, we do have sample pages, and then make use of our free online sample materials as well. All right, so let's look at some of these questions. I have a good one here, and a very surprising one. Hannah is asking, how do the levels of das Reporter Team 1, 2, 3, and 4 would equate with the common European framework?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Yes, but more or less, what we guided ourselves. I would say level 1. From level 1 to level 4, we will get to a B1 plus, more or less. But it depends a little bit. Are we speaking about interpretive mode, or are we speaking about presentational and interpersonal mode? Because, of course, authentic documents always are slightly more difficult in the level is more difficult, but it depends on how you work with them, or what you are asking students to do with them, and what their output can be. Of course, there's always this game of seeing what the level is like. But I would say it's A1, level 1 is A1 plus. No, it's A1. Level 2 is A1, A2. And level 3 now will go over to B1, part of. And yeah, but it's very difficult to make an exact Entsprechung, how do you say?
Comparison.
Comparison, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little tricky, but yeah, we usually, when we sell the materials, Barbara, I agree with you. We would usually say that level 4 is, jumps into the B1, and if you make it out strong, you would conclude with, a B1 plus. You would have your learners kind of at that level. There's another question about video and audio files, and I can answer that one. It has more to do with the sales point. Yes, all of our video and audio files, all of the auxiliary materials, all the supplements that we've introduced today are all included with your purchase. So we are a one-stop shop. So if you stick with us, you get all the resources. We do not differentiate there. And then the next one is about the sample chapter, Unit 5, Familia. If there is a sample ready for Unit 5, I think to have a look at that, including the audio. Barbara, you might know more about that one.
Sorry, can you repeat this? Sorry.
So the sample chapter that we were showing today
Yeah.
is chapter 5 with Familia. Isn't that level 3?
Familia.
Chapter 3.
It's
Isn't
chapter
Familia?
3, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
so Familia is chapter 3. Chapter 5 is the video that we saw from Elias.
Yeah, that was on the video on Vienna and food. Yeah, chapter 5.
And I can answer that. Yeah, so chapter 3 is the actual sample chapter that we have available in our online platform. And I actually already had 2 teachers pilot that chapter with their students this spring already, and so far they've been enjoying that. And so yes, so that is ready for you if you would like to use that. Okay, what else do we have? There is another question, and I think I brought that along. When I was talking about being able to collaborate with your Spanish and French colleagues, and the question is that, of course, some of the grammar topics might not align. How, there will still be, a way to collaborate with my colleagues, and I can already answer that one. It is simply because when we look at level 1 and the topics that we teach, they often overlap in Spanish as well as in French. And in German, we have, a chapter on family. We have a chapter on food. We're all going to go grocery shopping. We're going to talk about health. And that is just simply to do with the fact that those chapters align very nicely with the skill level at which our students are, right? And that's how it makes it easier. If you compare our Spanish, French, and German sister series, you will see that those topics will overlap, and it'll make it a lot easier for you to lesson plan as well, especially with regards to the projects that we've seen here today, the mini projects and the final projects. They are often the same. They share the same or similar ideas, and that makes it very nice to kind of have a comparison there as well. Okay, I have to write our curriculum over the summer, yes. And do you have an exact date when the teacher edition will be out?
Yes, it should be available on June 30th. Mid-June. No, it's on the 15th. Yeah, it's been printed. Yeah. I think there is a question, is there the option to only have the digital version?
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
Yes.
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 Digital is great. Yeah.
Yeah, so all of our materials come in print and digital, and it is your choice. We cater towards your needs and your students' needs, and often it also comes down to your district's or your school's funding. And so if you are a school that heavily relies on digital only, we can make that happen. If you prefer the more traditional, print workbook, print textbook, then we can make that happen as well. Any form of hybrid or blended bundle, absolutely. We do work on you can piece it together however you like. All right. I see someone would like to get the recording emailed. As you are participating in this webinar today, which means we have your email information already, and it will be emailed to you automatically. Just give us about a week or so. And then, are there any other questions before we conclude?
Yeah, I think we should remind that we have, I think we still have some review copies.
I do, absolutely.
Yeah, so we can send these out now because we have them. And the second level is being printed now, along with the first volume with a few corrections because
Exactly.
the review copy still has some things in there, but you can get an
And
overall
Barbara,
idea.
sorry to interrupt. The third level will be available in a year. Is that
Yeah,
right? It'll be
right.
published, rolling out next summer,
Yes.
2026.
And level 4 to follow then in 2027. So if you're looking to slowly implement, now is a great time to start. All right. There are no other questions. I don't see any. I just do want to also mention that we have a very strong implementation team, which means that we do provide you with complimentary onboarding. That onboarding contains a platform training and also the initial content implementation as well. So we will take our time, spend it with you and your colleagues. If you're a singleton, it'll be a one-on-one. So that'll give you the opportunity to ask all your questions. We will walk you through the platform, how it works, where to find the resources, and so on. We do offer continued professional development as well. These webinars are one way to do that. If your school is interested in more and paid professional development, one of the great things that is brand new for us as well, and it seems to be rather popular, to be quite honest, is our reporters professional development package. And those are virtual PD sessions. They're an hour each, and topics include such as backwards design for unit planning, differentiated instructions, cultural comparison, teaching vocabulary through the interpretive mode, and also teaching grammar communicatively. And so all of these relate to Das Reporter team as well as Reporteros and Reporter Francophone. Again, another way to collaborate with your colleagues and get some hands-on, very relevant professional development tailored towards you as you are using our materials. The PD package is not for free. I am afraid it is paid professional development. I'll be happy to talk prices later. And then Claudia, through this webinar today, we won't have a choice to connect, but if you want to submit a sample request and I will look up and let me know what state you're in, I'll make sure that your state representative is going to connect with you tomorrow. All right. Well, perfect, Claudia. Awesome. So with that, it's time for us to say thank you. I'm gonna leave the last words to Barbara and Heidi here.
Heidi first.
I just want to say I'm really excited about this opportunity. And good luck.
Ja, ich wünsche Ihnen auch viel, viel Erfolg für Ihren Unterricht, egal womit Sie unterrichten. Aber wenn Sie Interesse an Reporterteam haben, freuen wir uns natürlich sehr. Dankeschön.
Same from me. Everyone, please have a wonderful rest of the evening, day, night, wherever you are. It is lovely to see so many German teachers coming together. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate and reach out to us. We're always here and always happy to help. Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss.